name's Manuel Maldonado, and I'm a slot racer. And back in the day, it was a hobby that consumed us as kids. And we're here today at Larry Fator's shop, and he's one of the guys that hung on to some of the stuff and collected it. This is my friend Chuck Blaney. Chuck was the reason that got me going. His stepdad told me I need somebody to build a new car. And I had done model building, but these were actually race cars. So that's why we're here, to take a peek at what we used to do.
Yeah, he's my big brother here, man, you know, so, I kind of did all my stuff after what he taught me, so that was what we did. Started racing slot cars when I was about 14 years old. When I was 15, I started working at J&J's slot car racing track and met lots and lots of people. We raced every Saturday night, and
that group out of J&J's racing, we were fortunate. We're good, hard racers, and they were ingenious in building equipment and changing stuff, getting the tune-up better, and it seemed to pay off when Rod and Custom started covering the races in that 64, 66 era. Every month we had a race in a different city, and it was really a good competitive atmosphere for young kids to build cars, go race competitively, and all of us at J&J became close friends because now we were the team out of J&J's going to compete with other racetracks, and our guys did very well competing not only down here in Southern California, but they put together some north-south races where they brought guys from the San Francisco Bay Area, San Mateo, San Jose, and us as kids getting together on a Greyhound bus or with somebody that was old enough, had a car and a driver's license, and we'd pack it up and head that way and compete with them. And that group of racers seemed to be tense, faster than the guys up north. So it was a big thrill for us being kids competing like that with North-South. And the magazine from Rod and Custom happened to capture a lot of the write-ups on that. So Chuck and I not only raced slot cars, but in our later years, we went drag racing. For us, that was a big time in our life when it helped form a lot of our persona. It gave you confidence to build something and compete with people. And it carried on to a lot of our life in how to deal with people and compete.
Well, Manuel, how did you go about coming up with the idea for your particular style, which is well known in the drag racing, the stiletto really, style?
Yeah, that was the thing. I grew up at a time when drag racing cars were still homemade. So when you went to the drags, you'd see every conceivable version of how somebody interpreted how they could build something. A lot of it was, this is what materials I had to work with, right, so I used it. But eventually you're getting the idea that, wow, the overall design, if you're really looking at the concept of a nice, slick, tapered car, the dropped axle's better. But in slot racing, nobody did a dropped axle. So you had to get a piece of 1/8 inch brass and wrestle it around in the vise and bend it up and hammer on it till you got a shape to it, and now that lets you build that nice low sleek nose piece, and then you could taper it. But the big secret was the brushes would arc the frame rail. So what I did was just take Scotch tape, clear Scotch tape, and cover the frame rail. So the brush could run against it and not arc. It was insulated. And then I finished making the back of the body, but I wanted the biggest gears I could get because I wanted to move the weight of the motor forward, move that magnet forward.
To help keep the front end down.
Yeah, so that would lessen the amount of dead weight you had to carry.
Right.
And then you just start looking at the hardware, picking away at the gears were put on with a set screw. And I'm going, God, that starts making things wider. So the axle's longer, heavier. So I'm going, well, I'll cut off the flange, silver solder the gear. So now it's shortening the shaft and it's lighter on the armature. Then I took the rear gear, cut the flange off of it, and aluminum will not solder to the steel axle. So I put a washer on each side of the gear, soldered it, and then drilled holes through the washer and the gear to the other side and put straight pin through there, and then resoldered the whole thing. So you don't see the fastener, you just see a little bit of solder around the gear, but that's how I made the gear narrower, and you narrow
to get the
car
overall width
so
of the car down.
You're getting rid of, minuscule amount of weight, but when you're scaling it, it's substantial.
Well,
and
that's
then
pretty ingenious engineering.
Well, you pick up things from other people. I'm not going to say I originated everything, but the way the frame rails go together, aluminum tubing, a hole through the chassis, and use a straight pin and epoxy it together when you put it together, and now it's just a nice smooth cap on the outside of the frame rail. And
very lightweight.
Yeah, so it was very
Manny,
light.
let me ask Chuck a question, because I know he's late for an appointment. Let me get him on here real quick and we'll get back to you.
No problem.
So what's the earliest you remember of your first big race and building your first car? What year was that?
Well, it was probably around 1964. I was about 14. And the first time we did it manual.
So we're the same age.
Then when I started building them myself, and I remember that probably the first big race was at a J&J track, and it was covered by Rod and Custom magazine.
Right.
That was a big deal for us, and that was the first one. And then I think we went on and did various races, and was actually won a couple of them.
In fairness, I think Chuck won more of those RC races during that period that I remember.
I was a young guy, so I was good on the lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good reaction time.
Yeah. But great fun. I actually had I worked at the slot car track when I was 15, and Tom McEwen, the drag racer, came in and wanted a car. And at that time, Manuel had gone off to Vietnam, so he wasn't around. So he says, hey, I want you to build me one of these. So that started a relationship with Tom McEwen, where he pretty much, I was, I had no money at all, but McEwen would tell me, look, money's no object, just make sure I win. So he would pay for the equipment that we got, and that really helped me survive for those few years.
Yeah. Well,
and we had a lot of fun, really a lot of fun doing it. And there were times when McEwen would take the gears, like Manuel's talking about narrowing the gears. McEwen would take the gears and take them down to Donovan and get somebody in the shop to to machine them
Thinner.
thinner.
Right.
And then he took, at one time, he took a car that we had like this, and he was driving the Yeakel Plymouth dragster at the time. So we painted it purple, and he took it to Tom Kelly, who did the lettering on
Oh my God.
on the Yeakel car, and Tom just did it perfect in real small little letters, and made a Yeakel Plymouth special, and Tom McEwen's Mongoose logo, and really made it.
So McEwen raced more than just the one time that was in the article in the magazine.
Yes, yeah.
Gary Gablich.
Yeah.
So he was a somewhat regular down
He
there?
was a regular, yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he came all the time. He always had a girl with him, but he always came.
Cool.
Just almost probably 3 nights a week, maybe.
Wow.
Wow, very interesting. Thank you.